This is Heaven 610, WAGG Birmingham. It's time now for Biz Talk, and here's Roy Williams.
Welcome to Biz Talk with Roy Williams. I am so honored to have you join us here today. And before I introduce my guests, two people who I've long admired, and I want to thank our show sponsors for today. Today's Biz Talk with Roy Williams is brought to you, first of all, by attorney Katrina Washington. She focuses on disability benefits, including Social Security disability, Veterans disability, and federal employment retirement disability. You can contact her for all of your disability needs at 205-297-7000. She is located at the law offices of Katrina Washington, downtown Birmingham, in the Medical Forum Building. Again, the phone number is 205-397-7000. Our show is also brought to you by the law offices of Corey Watson Attorneys. Our legal news is brought to you by them, and they are personal injury lawyers who have been helping people for more than 30 years, and they offer free consultations by phone at 1-800-900-4800, or visit the website www.coreywatson.com. And for both of these law offices, I have to give the disclaimer: no representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed by both law firms is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers. Now, let me get into the show. Today's show has been taped in advance, so we will not be taking any calls today. But I am so honored to have with me two special journalists who I have known for a long time and long admired. Mr. Joy Kennedy, a Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial writer. Welcome to BizTalk, Joy.
It's great to be here, Roy. Thanks for asking.
And he is joined by his better half, Miss Veronica Kennedy, a copywriter who helped nurture me when I first joined the Birmingham News at the tender age of 25.
The tender age of 25?
Yeah, I'm 50 now. I cannot believe it.
We've known each other for a long time.
Yes, and they both went to my alma mater, Jacksonville State University. I'm just so honored to have it. And Joy, Veronica, and I are, can I say it?
Yes.
We're all escapees of the
Yes,
Birmingham
we are.
News.
Yes.
Who've gone on to bigger and better things. Birmingham News is dead. AL.com, Alabama Media Group is replaced it, but we're all escapees, and we've gone on to bigger and better things. I'm not going to say anything else about that. But I'm real excited. They are here to talk about their new venture, Animal Advocates of Alabama, a news and information website that is on its way to becoming, and I'm putting this in the atmosphere, the number one resource for all things animal in this state. And if you're a dog owner like me, or someone who, basically is an advocate for animals, as their name and website says, this is a venture you need to learn more about and support by buying an ad or spreading the word. I want to commend you as we get started for both stepping out on faith and turning your decades of passion for animals and long-time dog ownership into a new venture. For those unfamiliar, introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm, of course, Joey Kennedy, and the reason that we started this website is over the last year, I've been writing about animal issues for AL.com before my fortunate escape. And we decided there were some people who wanted us to continue doing this, and they helped us set up. We decided we would set up this website, Animal Advocates of Alabama, to not only advocate, which we do, and it's a big, important role of what we do, say what we're for and what we're against, but also to publish news and information, have events, resources. And like you said, we want to become the number one place for anything Animal Alabama.
I think as Veronica, I have to really commend you, especially a husband and wife working together. But how did y'all come up with this idea? I mean, do y'all know of any other sites like this in other states? Or what?
In truth, we looked for other sites like this, and there is nothing out there even close.
That's statewide type of organization.
And that's national.
That's
there is
great.
nothing out there. So that's the big reason that we decided to do something like this, because we knew that we needed to express our passion for animals.
And there is such a need.
And there is. Now, there are a lot of animal websites.
Yeah.
I mean, there are tons and tons of animal websites, but they all have a niche that they're feeling, that they're filling up. There, maybe a website for chaining dogs. There may be a website for spay neuter. There may be a website that just has cute pictures of puppies and kittens on it. But there's not a website that encompasses that whole mission. And we've picked up, we've got a lot in our mouth to chew on.
Oh yes, we certainly do.
But it's something that we are greatly passionate about.
And the title of your website is so perfect. I mean, I know no one who is as strong an animal advocate as you both.
We're pretty much crazy dog people. Yes,
Dog and cat people.
How long have y'all had cats too?
We have one cat.
We've always had one cat.
Yeah. How does the cat get along with the dog? I've always been curious.
Some
about
of them well, and some of them not. This particular cat we got after we lost a 19-year-old cat a couple years ago, and this cat is a rescue. All our animals are rescues.
That's great.
But this cat, we brought her home. She's a beautiful calico. We set her up in our office upstairs, got her litter pan set up, got her food out, opened up the little crate, and we didn't see her, Roy, for 2 months. She lived in our attic. Our attic is partly finished, and she lived up in the attic. And we knew she was eating, and we knew she was pooping because we could tell. But we just didn't see her. And then finally she started showing herself.
Was she
She's
scared of the dogs?
Maybe so. There may have been some of that. But the dogs, come on, Roy. Our dogs are little dogs.
I have a little dog,
like
too. So.
Pugs. We have a grumble of pugs. We do have, I can tell you, we do have 5 pugs. All of them rescues, and every one of them have the greatest individual personality.
I've always wanted to ask y'all, how did y'all choose a pug when it comes to picking a dog?
Well, this is actually Joey chose the pugs. I had a Yorkie, and I always called him a Yorkshire Terrier instead of a terrier. But he was definitely my dog, and Joey was jealous, and he needed to get a dog. That was his dog. So he started looking. You take it from here.
I looked and I looked. I was wanting a dog that would be big enough to tear your throat out. That's where it started. And I looked at the doodles, and I looked at Labrador retrievers and collies and then schnauzers, and then I was getting smaller and smaller. And I came across the pug, read about it, did some research on it. It's a dog that's bred to do nothing but sit in your lap. And
that's true.
And so we found a really good pug breeder, and we went in Louisiana, and we made arrangements to...
Now, how long ago was that?
That was in 2001.
Okay.
And that little dog, Greta, she introduced us to pugs, and she died last September.
Oh, I
so
remember
it was
that.
very...
And that's something, for people who don't know this, when a pet dies, it's like losing your own child.
Well, we're childless, but I know how profoundly I was devastated when I walked down those stairs and saw Greta laying there, and it was horrible. I mean, it was, and we still grieve over Greta. But it's a very sad thing when you lose a pet, whether Greta or earlier this year, or actually on Christmas night, one of our pugs, Sadie, left the house, and we haven't found her.
How are you doing? I mean, it's been about 6 months now, because even when I lost my brother 9/11, 13 years later, still grieving, but it's only been 6 months. When you lose a pet, it's a grieving process you go through, too.
Absolutely.
In fact, there is a group in Birmingham called Dixie's Group that is a pet grief support group. Meets once a month. And we actually went, the first time we went was the day that we picked up Greta's ashes. And it was a very hard time, but it was also very good. And we've gone mostly ever since, because, and we tell people about it. It's important to keep talking about the pet grief.
We need to interrupt this for
Okay.
a few minutes.
Okay. I need to take.
Yeah, we gonna pause it. You go.
Veronica and Joy, we were talking about what it's like when you lose a pet. Is your website, is one of the things you're going to do is try to be an avenue for people who say they've lost their pet, and how to deal with grief, and if they have a lost pet, how, tips for how people can search for the pet. Tell a little bit about that.
Well, one of the most important parts of our website will not necessarily be the stories, which are important, or the features, or even the advocacy. One of the most important things on our website will be the resources. And we're going to have a variety of different kinds of resources over there. Among those, what to do when you've lost your dog or cat. When Sadie ran away, we went probably to a dozen different websites trying to find out what to do and how to place her and do those sorts of things. Well, we want to have all of those in one place so that a person,
Well, for instance, like step-by-step process. Okay, you've lost your pet.
Here's where you can go. Here's what you do.
Here's what you do to find. That will be a permanent fixture on there that people can go to. Another thing we're going to do is a list of all the dog parks in the state of Alabama.
Oh, that's great.
We're going to do a list of animal-friendly, mainly dog-friendly restaurants where people can take their dogs out on the patios.
What about like my kids? I have to give a shout out to We Talk Dog, Adam Summerford, who wasn't able to join us here today. But what about a listing of places like that? They do boarding, they do grooming of dogs. We Talk Dog, by the way, is right off Montevallo Road. Great place, but
yes, absolutely. Those are the kinds of things. It's going to. This is a process that we're going through right now, but in fact, we do have a summer intern, a legitimate summer intern who is going to be helping us build our resource section. Because when Sadie ran away, we probably it was Christmas night, so it was a bad time anyway. But we probably wasted 2 or 3 days just looking and trying to figure out where to post her photos. And we don't want people to have to go through that.
Because in a situation like that, every moment is
every
pivotal.
moment is critical. We believe that Sadie was picked up. And I mean, she's a pug. They don't roam. They go a little ways and they sit down and wait for someone to feed them something. And I'm sure that Sadie was picked up, and our hopes are that she is in a home being well taken care of. She's microchipped, and so if they ever scan her, they'll find that someone else owns her. But that aside, it was as much as we grieve over our loss of Greta, our first pug, the grief over Sadie is called unfulfilled grief, because we grieve for her, but we don't know if she's dead, if she's in someone's home, if someone picked her up and are using her as bait, if someone sold her, if we have no idea about anything.
It's just like a person like the Natalie Holloway. It's been 10 years since she was missing Mountain Brook. For a parent, with a missing child,
I can't imagine what that must be like, and certainly I know that we personify our animals. I mean, they're like our little children, and we treat them much like little children. But also science is showing that there's been a lot of study on dogs now, and they're doing fMRIs, which are real-time MRIs on dogs' brains. And these are showing where the love segment is in a dog's head. They're showing where the anger is, and of course the olfactory area, and so scientific studies are showing that dogs do actually think, and any dog owner knows that.
Oh yeah, I know that. I can tell how my dog, Lady Diamond, is feeling just by the look on her face.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, say there are some people out there who have a business, who have a dog pet, a grooming place, what have you. This is an advertising funded type of a company. How can they participate? What do they need to do? How can they buy an ad with you? Tell a little bit about that process.
Well, there is a place on the website.
Tell the website again.
It's at www.alanimals.com.
www.alanimals.com.
And we have a Facebook page that people can go like.
What's that Facebook page?
It's called Animal Advocates of Alabama.
On Twitter.
And we have a Twitter, which is at ALAnimals.
AL
Animals.
Okay.
Yes.
And certainly all of those. But on the website itself, there is a little box up in the upper left corner. that says advertise with us. Okay. And so that's how they can get in touch with us. We'll be glad to come out and explain our different programs. It's very, very reasonable prices for advertising.
And I can tell you, you're going to be reaching out to, it seems like it's a site, anybody who provides a service for animals, or for pets, what have you. I mean, you got this one-stop shopping, so to speak, website for all things animals.
Exactly. Right now, the website's only been live for 33 days.
Wow.
And we're averaging 7,000 to 10,000 views a day.
Already with no advertising, just starting from scratch.
Truly, very little advertising. And this coming month, we're, of course, working to build that up. But we've certainly got a lot of folks out there who are interested, and it's a good place not only just to have good quality in-depth stories and features, but also a place for businesses to reach a very specific audience that they want to reach.
And I can tell you, I've heard stories about the amount of money people spend on their pets. You can get literally in the thousands.
About $55 billion a year
wow.
is spent on. That's why you see all those pet superstores out there, and that's why a small operation like Whole Dog Market in Homewood, which is a beautiful store, it can exist because people do. We are pouring. Roy, did you know the pet clothes industry is a $3 million industry?
Wow.
$3 billion. I'm sorry, $3 billion industry.
Wow.
People spend $3 billion to dress their dogs up.
I know I dress my dog up during the winter months. And
well, we participate a little bit in that too.
Now, what about, are you going to have on your website like events like Do Dog Day and other dog events? And I know you mentioned you're also going to be a source for people about dog parks across the state. What type of events?
Well, we publish any animal related event. It doesn't have to be dogs or cats. Any animal related event that we know about, we publish. And again, this is something that we've got a number of events on there right now, but this is something that our summer intern is going to really get us ahead of the curve on. Gotcha. But for instance, next Wednesday, we're going up to Huntsville to visit the Purdy Butterfly House. And so it's a place that they just have butterflies.
I never heard of that place. Purdy
Butterfly House.
It's at the Botanical Gardens there. And it's
Huntsville.
A special structure.
And we're going to do a story on that will focus on butterflies.
And turtles.
And turtles. And
whatever else they have in there.
And so while certainly companion animals, dogs and cats, are the animals that we mainly focus on. We've had stories on mosquitoes. We've had stories on ferrets. We've had stories on, what else, Veronica?
Brown recluse spiders.
Brown recluse spiders. So anything that's not a human, and we also focus on human because we run a rescue hero series. We run dogs of photo gallery, and we do the dogs of paper.
Do you also do like features on pet owners?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we do.
Absolutely.
Now, how can people contribute ideas, or hey, I got a story that I think would be good for your website? How do they do that? How do they reach out for that?
They can certainly email us directly at info@alanimals.com. They can email me directly at joeykennedy@me.com. Veronica is veronicakennedy@me.com. And we don't, from being a journalist for so long, we don't like divine these things. They come to us. We know, and someone would always say, "Why didn't you cover that?" I said, "Did you call it in?" Well, no. Well, hey,
how are we supposed to know about it?
How are we supposed to know? And so, let us know any animal idea, any animal-related idea or story.
And we are talking about statewide.
Yes, statewide.
Not just in Birmingham.
Statewide.
Because we are the animal advocates of Alabama.
And we've had stories already from Huntsville, from Sylacauga. There's a feral dog colony living at the old Avondale Mill in Sylacauga, and it's about 30 dogs.
Wow.
And there's a group that takes care of them, has been trying to trap them out of there. But that was our first news story that we published on May 1st when that website launched.
Wow.
And
what's been the feedback so far?
It's been really great. I have not seen, which surprises me because, as you know, Roy, I drew quite a bit of negative feedback in my editorial writing days because I wasn't as politically conservative as some people might have wanted me to be. But we've had really no negative feedback, and we've had some constructive feedback. I love our logo, and when we first published our logo, there were several people who said, well, just put the state of Alabama and put a dog in it. And I said, no, that wasn't our vision. Our vision was all these animals. And so we have a pretty good vision of what we want the site to do and be. And so it'd be great if people would participate. And we beg people to do that on the site. And
we can even, if they just want to go to our Facebook page and like our Facebook page and put a post there as a suggestion for a story, that's fine too.
They can get us on, again, they can get us on Twitter. My Twitter is @JoeyKennedy, and they can reach me there, or they can reach us at @AlAnimals.
Now, I know y'all are going to have a link on your website on Pig the Unusual Dog. One of your, tell a little bit about, for those who don't know, tell about the story about Pig the Unusual Dog and why this dog is so unusual.
Well, Pig, I have to tell you as a disclaimer that Joey and I are Pig's aunt and uncle. We became that after Joey tracked her down last year when she appeared at Doodah Day. And this unusual dog was accused of, the photo of her was accused of being photoshopped because she is certainly strange. She's missing 7 inches of her spine. She has what is called short spine syndrome. And we have located in the world about a dozen dogs that have short spine syndrome. Several in the United States, 2 or 3 in Italy. Isn't there one in
Ireland?
Wow.
But it's just an anomaly. It's a birth defect. But she doesn't have a neck, so she can't turn her head, so she turns all the way around to see people. But she's just so unusual.
How old is this dog? And who owns it?
She's 18 months old, 19 months old, somewhere around there.
What kind of dog
Kim
is it?
Dillenbeck is the owner of the dog.
What kind of dog is it?
We did a DNA
Wisdom
test
panel.
on her, a wisdom panel DNA test on Pig, and I will say, you know, the original Pig story went worldwide. I mean, it just went viral. Well, so did the DNA test because everybody wanted to know what Pig was. And Roy, if I were a betting person, I would have bet my house that there was Akita in that dog because she looks Akita. There was no Akita.
For people who don't know, what is Akita?
It's a kind of a, what is it,
Sort of a husky,
husky
looking
type
dog.
of dog. Yeah.
but she's brown and white. Pig is. She's Staffordshire Terrier. Oh my goodness, that's what happens when you invite old people on the show.
Yes.
Yelling that out. but
Shih Tzu.
Chow.
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 Yeah. She's a mutt.
Will she get to be any bigger than she is now? I mean, with no spine,
Well, they need to
short, small.
Actually, her sister weighs about 50 pounds.
And how much does she weigh?
And
It was 16 or 17.
Pig weighs 16, 17 pounds. And Kim is trying to keep her that way because her organs are all like squeezed together.
Yeah,
and
if it gets to be too
and
big,
so
that
Pig
could be
probably
helpful.
couldn't handle a whole lot of weight.
So what's been the now your website? What do you have? You have a link to for people can follow? Just keep
No,
up with Pig. Or what?
she has a page on our website.
It's called Pig in the Ham.
Oh, that's great.
And let me tell you, when we do a Pig story and we cover Pig like Pig's a superstar because she is, it goes crazy. Pig the Unusual Dog's website, Facebook page has over 91,000 followers.
Yes.
All over the world. And so anytime we run a story about Pig, it gets a lot of action.
That's great. Well, listen, we're going to take a break. It's about, can you believe we've been talking about 25 minutes?
Wow.
But it's been a fascinating conversation. And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot of issues about, we're going to remind people how you, as a business or an individual, can buy an ad and support this great company. And we're also going to talk about some key legislative issues. One of the things this website is going to be doing is keeping up with all things related animals. So we'll be back after this break.
Has your income
Been a fascinating conversation so far. Before we go on and continue our conversation, I want to give a special shout out to a good friend of mine, Miss Angela Fisher Hall. Y'all know Angela?
I don't think I do, Roy.
She used to be with the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Well,
oh, yes.
For 10 months, Angela served as the interim director of the Birmingham Public Library. And this week, and I was so excited to hear the news, Angela was officially hired as the new director of the Birmingham Public Library.
Oh, that's great.
She's a great resource for people. And she's such a strong leader at the library, and I just have to commend them for hiring her. Angela is now responsible for all aspects of the Birmingham Public Library support services, including the staff members and the 19 library locations. So I have to give a special shout out to Angela Fisher Hall for being appointed director of the Birmingham Public Library. Now let's get back onto the show. Before the break, I was mentioning how your website, which is Animal Advocates of Alabama, and give what the website is again.
It's www.alanimals.com.
Well, in addition to being a resource for people who've lost a pet or want to know information on where you can, tips on where the dog parks are, and by the way, if you happen to be a vet, you need to advertise on this website. It's a great place to reach out to. Right now, 7,000 to 10,000 hits you said a day, and this is without any advertising. So this is going to be the website to get to know when it comes to animal advocacy.
We certainly hope so.
Yeah, I'm claiming that.
And yes, any pet grooming places, there's a lot of them out there. You got an advantage if you come with us.
I wrote about our pet grooming places in Chelsea. I'm going to make sure I let them know about it. And I can't remember the name of it, but I did a story about a pet grooming place in Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. It's not in Mount Laurel, not Chelsea, Mount Laurel.
And that just underscores, though, that this is a bursting industry.
Yes.
The pet care industry is just exploding. And the 55 billion people spend right now, next year there's no telling what that'll be.
Yeah.
It's huge industry.
In addition to being a resource for all things related to pets, and if you have lost a pet, this is a website where you can help get the word out. But they're going to follow legislative issues, and that gets into the next topic. Legislative issues related to animals. Bring me up to date, Joy. I know you were real active in talking about the spay-neuter bill. Bring me up to date on that. And I know the session's about to come to a close. About what are some of the key concerns for pet owners down in Montgomery?
Well, it's looking like, because they only have 2 more days, legislative session days, that not one animal protection or related bill is going to pass this.
How many were up?
Well, there were at least 4 major ones.
Yeah. What are they,
The spay-neuter bill, the chaining bill.
What is the chaining bill?
The chaining bill would regulate regulate how long you could chain your dog. A lot of people chain their dogs 24/7. That is cruel.
Yeah, because dogs are...
Animal control people have found dogs frozen to fences that they were chained to, or drowned when the backyards flooded because their dogs were chained and they couldn't get out. But tethering and chaining a dog all the time, and many times without water or food, without any kind of shelter, is just a cruel thing. And so there was a bill, and it made it out of the Senate. I mean, it made it out of the Senate committee, but it's probably not going to get any further. Plus, it would have to go to the House. There's a shelter census bill, which would require animal shelters to report how many animals they took in, how many they adopted out, and how many euthanasias there were.
They don't have to report that now?
And some do voluntarily, like Greater Birmingham Humane Society does report that, but they're not required to report it. And so it's hard to get a handle. We talk about, the thought is that we're killing 100,000 healthy or treatable dogs and cats a year in this state alone.
Wow.
Now that's dogs that could be, and cats that could be adopted. And so we need to know really what that number is. It could be much higher. And so, and we also are advocates of no-kill communities. And so we want to get to the point where there aren't any healthy or adoptable or treatable dogs or cats that are killed in shelters.
What about that? And for people who don't know, bring them up to date on the spay-neuter bill. They've been trying to get the spay-neuter bill for I don't know how long.
Right.
And
tell people what
this is all about.
It was introduced in the House late this session, and so it probably didn't stand much of a chance. But the nonprofit spay-neuter clinics have been under attack from a small group of veterinarians, but a very vocal group of veterinarians. And they've even charged the 2 vets that are in charge of the spay-neuter clinic with malfeasance, and they had to go before the Veterinary Medical Examiners Board. One of these veterinarians, Margaret Farrell, has been named to that board now, and she really beat the charges. The other was a railroad by the wonderful Dr. William Weber, who is a fabulous veterinarian. And his was a railroad, and he's in appeal and will very likely win the appeal.
So what were they charged with?
They were charged with all sorts of things, practicing without a permit, cruelty to animals. What this Alabama Spay-Neuter Clinic does is it does high-volume spay-neuter. Dr. Farrell could do as many as 40 spays and neuters a day.
And it's more affordable than a lot of
it's
people.
Very affordable. In fact, many people can get spay or neuter for as little as $20 out there.
And talk about why it's important. I mean, I know we had our dog, spay neuter, early on, but talk about why it's important.
Yeah, every one of our dogs.
And here is exactly why.
Every one of our dogs are spayed and neutered. It's important because in 2014, and last year, Alabama Spay Neuter fixed 8,888 dogs and cats. Now, okay, 8,000. They fixed well over 80,000 since they've been in operation. But you extrapolate that as what you do. So, according to the North Shore Animal League Dog Pyramid, one unspayed female dog, her mate, and all of her offspring, if never fixed, will produce 16 dogs in 1 year.
Wow.
So that turns out, in theory, those 8,888 dogs turn into 37,776 female dogs, or dogs not having litters in a 12-month period. And that directly relates the shelter numbers. And that has been shown that shelters are taking in fewer animals because of active spay-neuter. But the spay-neuter clinics, the Veterinary Medical Practice Act does not allow a non-veterinarian to own a veterinary practice. And the State Board of Medical Examiners was saying that because the spay-neuter clinic was owned by a nonprofit, even though the veterinarians owned the practices inside it, that it was violating the law.
Wow.
And they've been trying to shut them down. And this bill that was proposed by State Representative Patricia Todd is probably the most able state lawmaker in Montgomery. This bill would protect those nonprofit spay-neuter clinics from being attacked by the veterinarian board.
I can't
In
believe
fact,
it hasn't passed yet.
Yeah. One of them, the one in Huntsville, is right now closed.
Yeah, the one in Huntsville closed because the veterinarian became afraid of this vendetta that was out there. But I must also say, Roy, that there are other low-cost, for-profit spay-neuter clinics. Mercy West is a spay-neuter clinic, and it's located in Fultondale or Pleasant Grove. It's in the northern part of the county, and it matches the prices of Alabama spay-neuter. And there's a low-cost spay-neuter clinic in Mobile. There's a nonprofit clinic in Montgomery. There's a nonprofit clinic in Dothan. And so these clinics are doing, Roy, the vast majority of people who use these spay-neuter clinics would not see a vet at all. Their dogs and cats would remain healthy, would remain
unfixed.
Yeah, unfixed. And then they would breed, and then that litter would breed, and so this is a way you can get, because it's so low cost, you can get your animals spayed or neutered and there's nothing wrong with people who are low income having pets. Pets have been shown to have a real health-giving effect on human beings, that people who have pets live longer. We have an animal-assisted therapy place in this city, Hand and Paw, that proves this all the time. They take animals to nursing homes, to Children's Hospital, to all of those places. And so they do have a very health-giving effect.
'Cause, I mean, I've heard cancer patients how having a dog or a cat, what have you, can help to make them feel better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know I didn't get off the subject there, but still, the value of animals for everyone, whether you're poor or whether you're the richest person in the world, whether you're homeless, if you can figure out how you can get your animal spayed and neutered, then that's what you should do.
Now, is your website going to have like updates on different legislation and?
Well, we take it a step further. We don't just update it on legislation. We advocate. We also name the people who need to be named. We name the ones who do good, and we name the ones who do bad.
That's good.
And the advocacy part of the website, and we keep that very clear, advocacy, that's opinion.
Yeah.
And we express our opinion strongly on a number of issues, like chaining, like no-kill, like spay-neuter, and various number of other issues.
Well, there's always a need for that. You know, I mean, and think about it. You were an editorial writer. You were paid to express your opinion. So,
and I've been writing about the spay-neuter issue for years. Well before I was ever writing animals full time. Even back when we were a newspaper, Roy, we wrote about it back when we were a newspaper. I was the editorial writer who wrote most of the animal issues.
And that gets me back into this. You are a Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial writer. What year was it again when y'all won you and Ron Casey and
Harold Jackson.
Harold Jackson. What year was it y'all won?
1991.
And then you were finalists 2 other years, right?
2 others, 1994 and 2006.
What were remind me what the topics were in each of those cases, the one that won?
The one that won was an examination of Alabama's tax system. And we suggested ways that we could make our tax system more fair. We have one of the most regressive tax systems in the nation.
And sadly, what has been 20 plus years, and it's still
we could pretty
not
much
much
write
of a
that
change.
series again. Yeah. And then in 1994, we were a finalist for a series we did on education reform in Alabama.
Boy. Yeah,
and
then on that
in,
topic.
In 2006, we were finalists. And being a finalist means you're in the top 3.
Yeah.
We were a finalist for our series where we reversed our position on the death penalty in Alabama, where we had always been pro-death penalty. We reversed our position and explained to the public why we were no longer going to support the death penalty.
Gotcha.
And one of the main subjects of that series, a guy on death row, man named Henson, has since been removed from death row because he was just railroaded.
Yeah.
And that happens. Innocent people can be executed in Alabama, and they have been executed in Alabama.
Let's talk about, when it comes to animal topics, what are the hottest topics going on right now that you can think of?
Anytime you write about spay-neuter, people are interested. And anytime you write about someone's great success with an animal rescue. People love to read those stories. They're just good, warm, and fuzzy stories. Yeah. And advocacy now. Anytime you write about pig, that draws some attention.
Well, for people who are listening out there and they think they have a great story, what's their first step?
First step is get in touch with us. Again, info@alanimals.com or joeykennedy@me.com or veronicakennedy@me.com. We would love to hear from people.
Yes, absolutely.
And Veronica wisely pointed out one of the issues that I've left off legislatively. And by the way, when we advocate, people are interested in that. Those stories draw a lot of attention. There was a petition that would regulate. There was a bill that would regulate puppy mills in Alabama, and that bill is not going to pass.
Remind people what a puppy mill is.
A puppy mill is, as defined in the law, a puppy mill would have been someone who had 10 or more animals that they were breeding basically in their backyard, in kennels in their backyard. And these dogs are bred out. 3 of our pugs are puppy mill pugs. One of them has a very bad spinal injury because she probably exacerbated her spine by having litters of puppies. And then she was found as a stray out because when they use them up, they just put them out. And so they're picked up and they go to animal control. They're very often euthanized, or I'm going to say killed, because that's what they're doing to these animals.
There is a difference between euthanasia and outright murder, as far as we are concerned.
And so euthanasia,
because we're crazy dog people.
Euthanasia is necessary for an unredeemable, vicious dog, or a animal that is in great suffering. I mean, that is a humane thing to do. But to take a perfectly healthy puppy or a perfectly healthy kitty or dog or cat and put those dogs down, that to me is like the death penalty. You just should not be killing sentient beings. And
they don't call a man's best friend for nothing. Huh?
Yeah,
exactly.
And one of the great programs that we do have in Alabama, of course, they're private programs through nonprofit groups, but is a TNR, which is trap, neuter, and release for feral cat colonies, where people take care of these colonies. They trap the cats, they bring them to the Alabama Spay Neuter or another Spay Neuter clinic, and then they neuter these animals, and they then release them or return them to the place where they were picked up. And that also helps keep the feral cat population down, because these animals are no longer reproducing. But some policies have been to round up all these cats, haul them down to the pound, and execute them. And that's happened to thousands and thousands of cats.
One issue I hear a lot about, and I'm curious if it's something y'all may be looking into as well, is sometimes when they talk about pit bulls. There was a case in Tuscaloosa County where a man just got arrested after his pit bull attacked and severely injured a little boy. Are y'all going to be talking about anything related to that? Is that the type of topic that y'all might discuss as well?
We have discussed. We oppose breed-specific legislation. Any kind of legislation that points out one breed. You know, at one time it was the Rottweiler. At one time it was the German Shepherd. At one time it was the Doberman. And now it's the pit bull. And a lot of the reasons for that is because pit bulls are used a lot in illegal fighting. The Michael Vick thing brought them to the forefront.
But there are some good pit bulls.
And a lot of attacks, that get reported as a pit bull.
Well,
but no one really knows they're a pit bull or not. A pit bull is not a breed. It is a mixture of a bunch of breeds. Now, pit bulls are strong, but you know what the dog that bites the most is?
What's that?
Cocker Spaniel. They're face biters. Now
pretty Cocker Spaniels.
They don't have the muscle power in their jaws, and certainly if you get bit by a pit bull or any large dog, it's going to be a problem. But the pit bull should not be picked on. Now, there are some pit bulls who do create havoc and cause real problems. When that happens, then that particular dog owner or that particular dog should be focused on, but not just the breed as a whole. And it has shown statistically, it does not lower the incident of dog bite in communities that have these breed-specific legislation.
It's almost like racial profiling. You know, you see it's a pit bull. Okay, so what?
Stereotyping the dog just because about it.
There are pit bulls that are real sissies.
There are pit bulls that have great temperaments, and there are pugs that are terrors. You know, they're pugs that kill other pugs. They do have vicious pugs. So, I mean, like, they have as many personalities as they do.
It's dogs are dogs. I mean, dogs are like people. We all have different personalities.
Do you find that dogs take after their owners' personalities? Like, do your dogs, do they take after your personalities? Or do they have
their own.
They have their own.
Every one of our dogs has a different personality.
I think we tend to have a calming effect on our dogs. But then my dogs are pugs, so they're going to be calming.
They're going to be more calm than a lot of different breeds, certainly.
Unless somebody comes to the door.
We got about 5 minutes left.
And one thing I did want to do is talk about Monday is just one day.
What is it?
And just one day.
And what day? Monday is June 9th. Okay.
No, it's going to be June 11th.
No, it's June 11th.
Okay.
Whatever day
June 11th is.
Yeah.
I think
Monday's June 11th.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just one day, and just one day is a celebration where shelters are asked.
No, Monday's June I'm going to get that date straight. Monday is June the 8th. Yeah. This coming Monday is
Okay,
June
good.
the 8th. Go ahead.
So anyway, it's June 11th.
June 11th. I know that much.
Okay. So on June 11th.
And so shelters and rescues are asked to not kill an animal, not euthanize for just one day.
Oh, no.
Not euthanize healthy, adoptable animals and treatable animals for just one day. And this is a 4th or 5th year that just one day has gone on. Last year, more than 13,000 animals across the United States were adopted out on that one day, just one day, and it's always on June 11th.
Oh, okay.
And so this year, there are 15 or more shelters and rescues in Alabama that are participating, including Greater Birmingham Humane Society, including Shelby Humane Society. The Tuscaloosa County Humane Society is participating. Choctaw County is participating. Barber County is participating. And so these are generally all fairly high kill shelters. When we say high kill shelter, a shelter that kills more than 50% of the animals it takes in. Some are up to about 80 to 90% of the animals they take in. Well, for this one day, they're not going to kill.
That's great.
And if you can do it one day, you can do it 2.
You're right.
And then you can do it 3. And before you know it, you've developed a no-kill culture. And no-kill doesn't mean never kill. No-kill does not mean never kill. Because a suffering animal, it's humane to put them down. It's humane to give them, to euthanize them. And there are some dogs who are just flat out crazy. You can't do anything about them. They are vicious. They may have been used in fighting, and so they're never going to be right. They may have been chained up their whole lives, and then suddenly they're off that chain, and they go nuts because,
They have no socialization.
No socialization. So but the vast majority of animals that are killed in this nation and in this state are adoptable animals. Did you know, Roy, that a lot of shelters euthanize black animals?
What is that?
Because they're unpopular.
Wow.
4 of our animals are black.
No, 5.
5 of our animals are black. And but people.
Wow, that's amazing. Even black animals can sometimes be stereotyped.
I know.
What
The
is
great
it?
vast majority of black animals that end up in shelter end up euthanized. Black cats and black dogs. Black cats have that suspicious thing.
Yeah.
Although, in truth, in Great Britain, a black cat is good luck. But it's that stigma. You have that stigma where, I don't want a black dog. I don't want to,
My first dog was a black, and I used to have a black lab.
Oh, yeah.
We had a black cat for 19 and a half years.
Yeah.
And we didn't have really bad luck. It was after poor Maxine died
that the bad luck started.
Well, listen, we got about 2 minutes left. In closing remarks, let's talk a little bit again. Remind people about how they can follow Animal Advocates of Alabama. And the name, anyone who's heard this hour-long conversation knows that it fits y'all perfectly. But let's talk again about how they can follow Animal Advocates of Alabama on Facebook, Twitter, etc., as well as the website, and then how they can buy an ad, etc.
Well, the website is www.alanimals.com. You can follow us on Facebook at Animal Advocates of Alabama, and you can follow us on Twitter at the @ AL Animals. And we also have Instagram and Pinterest accounts as well, and so we're trying to use social media as much as possible. And you can go to our website, and there's an Advertise With Us button at the very top, and you can click on that. It will give you the ad rates, and it will tell you how to get in touch with us to advertise with us. It is an advertising-supported website.
And it's filling such a great need, and I'm going to make sure I get y'all back on a regular basis, Veronica.
Oh, that's great. We'd love to be back because, yes, we are true animal advocates. This is not an act. This is who we are. Most people who know us know that we really are crazy dog people, actually crazy animal people. But please contact us with any kind of ideas. If you want to advertise with us, if you want us to write a story, if you want to write a story for us, please contact us at info@alanimals.com, or you can contact me at VeronicaKennedy@me.com or Joey at JoeyKennedy@me.com.
Is there a phone number too for the business?
Our
yes.
numbers, 205-616-9467 and 205-616-9466.
Well, can you believe it? We've been on the air almost 53 minutes, but I've enjoyed having y'all on, and I look forward to having you back on again. And it's been a fascinating. I have learned a lot in just this one conversation.
Thanks a lot, Roy.
We're
It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it has been great fun. It's great to see you
and
again.
it's good to reminisce with you guys again, because y'all provide such a great service, and you're such strong advocates for animals. And I'd like to thank my show sponsors today, attorneys Corey Watson, a plaintiff's law firm in Birmingham, Alabama. They're personal injury lawyers that have been helping people for more than 30 years, and they can be reached at 1-800-900-4800 or by visiting their website, www.corywatson.com. And no representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of services performed by other lawyers. And I also thank my other sponsor, the law office of Katrina Washington, LLC. She is a lawyer who specializes in disability benefits, including Social Security, Veterans Disability, and Federal Employee Retirement Disability. You can contact her at 205-397-7000. And thank y'all again for being on BizTalk, and I look forward to us having this conversation again soon.
Thanks, Roy.
Thank you, Roy.
To the insurance company that spurned me, our time together has come to an end. It's not me, it's you. We both know what I'm talking about. 15 minutes ago, I began courting Geico. It was just